Hey everyone, this is Zarinah, El-Amin, Naeem, and I am in my local library. Now, I know that a lot of people really have gotten out of the habit of using the library, but the library is actually one of the best places you can add to your arsenal when you want to become an entrepreneur. Now, what's one of the largest free places that anybody can go to when they want to get into some books? The library, right? And with so many of the bookstores actually shutting down, our libraries have really picked up a lot of the slack. Now, here are three things, and I guess three reasons I want you all to really get familiar with your local library. Number one. All right, number one. So, your library is a wonderful source for market research. If you want to see up close, I should say, what books have been published in your industry and what books are really coming to the forefront, then you definitely want to go to the library. The libraries only purchase books that have either been published by large publishers or books that have been requested by their patrons. So this is key. This means that these are books that usually are being checked out. And most large libraries don't necessarily keep in circulation books that aren't moving. So this is number one. If you're just joining us, these are three reasons why you definitely need to use your local library. If you want to be an author, a successful author, or an authorpreneur, get to know your local library. Number one was because you can do your market research. So you can hear now they're about to close in a minute.
We'll be closing in 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
If you need a ride, please seek a librarian to call for a ride home.
All right.
We will be closing the doors promptly at 5 p.m. Thank you.
So what I was saying is that number one is that you can use the local library for market research. In your genre, go to the area, go look up the books, pick them up, and see what people are checking out. All right? That's number one. And when you are writing your book, if you've been following any of my trainings, I told you all the importance of picking a model book. This is getting a book that's similar to the book that you plan to put out and using that book as a model to follow. It's going to help you streamline your process and make sure that you're really touching all the bases. No, you're not copying that book. You're using it just as a model. Does that make sense? All right. I hope it does. I hope it's making sense. Okay, so that's number one. Using the library for market research. Number two is that these librarians, they know a lot. It takes a lot to be a librarian. They're not just like little old ladies that sit down over there and come and get your books. They have to go to school for that. And most of them have master's degrees in library science, meaning that they are information masters. They are here specifically for us to come and ask them questions. They live for it. They want you to ask them questions. So that means that if you're working on a book, maybe you have some questions about the types of books that people are checking out in your genre. Or you have questions about authors that the librarians are keeping tabs on, So you can talk to the librarian, ask them questions, and they will be a wealth of information for you. Okay, so that's number two. Get to know your local librarians. Now, if you go to your library and the librarian is acting kind of stank, like they're not being that helpful, then call another library. Go to another library. You don't even have to live in that district to utilize that local library. Okay? Make sense? All right, so that's number two. Your librarian is a source of information. Use them. Ask them questions. Side note, your librarian can also become a beta reader for you, right? So what that means is that beta readers are folks who read your book and give you feedback on it. And especially if you're using a library that you live in the district of, that librarian wants to support local authors. So what this means is that you can tell them, hey, I'm working on a book about such and such topic. I would love to have you be one of my beta readers and give me some feedback on the book. Many librarians will take you up on that offer. They love to read. They love working with local authors. And so you're up there asking them something that they don't get requested. They don't get frequently requested to do. All right. So that's another thing. Use your librarian. All right. Number 3. And this is something that I love. I love to find free spaces in my community that are gathering places because it allows me to just see more of the community in which I live in. And as an author, many authors are indeed kind of introverts. You know, we like to kind of stay to ourselves. I'm an introvert and an extrovert, so I have times where I pop out into both. But many of us like to stay to ourselves. But when you go to the local library, you can look around and kind of see who's here, engaging in the books, who's here in your local community, right? And as I mentioned earlier, libraries love to support local authors. So once you get to know your library, they can bring you in as a guest speaker and as they can do a book signing. They can hold a book signing for you as a local author. All right. They do it all the time, but you have to request it. You have to ask them, will you all showcase my work as a local author? And I'll say 7 times out of 10, they will say yes. All right. So if you're not familiar with some of the things that I've published a series of calendars called Beautifully Wrapped. One of my biggest customers are local libraries. And people don't think about them a lot because they always think about them for free stuff. But one of my biggest clients, or customers I should say, are local libraries. I created a workshop based around some of the items that I publish about, and the libraries hire me as an expert to come in and teach workshops on that subject, which is head wrapping. Right. So they wouldn't do that if I didn't have a publication and if I did not set myself up as an expert in my field. So again, what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is to get to know your local library. So I'm here in a meeting room at the Dearborn Heights Library, which is close to where I live in Michigan. And again, not only can I do market research here, if I want to do meet with some authors or potential client, I can come here because it's a safe space for them rather than going to my office. I can use the whiteboards. All of those types of things are there for you. So get to know your local library. If you have any questions, just leave a comment. I'll make sure that I answer your questions. If you have other topics that you want me to cover on, be sure to leave me a comment on the page, and I will make sure I comment on and answer those questions as well. And as always, we're doing a series of free trainings, how to write your book in 45 days. If you have not been in one of these trainings yet, I want you to jump on the training and then do the work. Right? Get your book done. So how do you get into the training? You go to www.niapress.com/masterclass. niapress.com/masterclass. All right. So love you all. To your prosperity and success. We are here, and get to know your local library. Have a great day.